Good day, traders. Stacey Burke from Stacey Burke Trading. Just a short, quick video on a couple of setups that I look for on the hourly chart. One of the things that Al Brooks often talks about is that everything always ends on a double top or a double bottom. Now, there's going to be lots of charting purists that disagree with that and who want to argue the point technically, but Al Brooks has a very good point, and one of the things, as I've told you with Schaubacher's book and Richard Brandt, is that I look for asymmetrical trading setups, and what I often mean by that is ranges or patterns that offer traders a compression whereby they're able to position themselves either on a breakout or on the failed breakout to possibly participate in a measured move where that range will be exponentially expanded upon. And so on Wednesday we have an example of what I define as a double top, and the reason why I define that as a double top is that I look at the opening range, and I as I've often said in my other videos, I don't trade Asia, but what I do look for at the Asia close, which is our black candle here, is any indication of, number one, who's been in control of the market. So the amateur would participate in looking at this as a trending market, trending up. What I'm looking at is the opening range. The opening range is the first hour, first couple of hours, and in this particular case, because we had bullish market activity, I look at this and I see this as one range of trading up. But we also have a breakout from the previous day's session. The opening of the Asia pre-market breaks out of what was a US market high, and then in the Asia session though we see strong selling activity. So what I want to know in that opening of Asia is there an indication of who's in charge? And clearly at this point, although the pre-market shows bullish activity, we see strong selling. Now, as we head in towards the Asia close, we see the market retest that high and reverse on the close. Now, as we see, we do now have a breakout candle, but before London opens, traders have two options. They can participate in the break, and again, they can define a 1-hour stop, and then what we would look to do is a range expansion of that range as our potential profit targets. Now, I often will look for 2 times the range at a minimum. Now, when a market breaks out that strongly, I will follow that market down, possibly on a shorter time frame, if it clears that 2 times expansion. And again, the reason why that is that I know that at some point that market's going to turn, and I want to be able to trap profits. But I will set my profit target. If it's a 2 times that range, we'll also look for other price action that corresponds with this range of activity, and also look to have some sort of correlation there. So you can set it at a price target on that 1-hour low, or you can use your range expansions. It's up to you. But the point I'm trying to make is that if we go back and we just look at this chart, what I want to see is 1, 2, 3 points. And inside of those 3 points, again, I don't need to see that high be the high of the rectangle, but I'm looking for somewhere where the market, now that's our opening range, the first 2 hours pre-market, and then the Asian opening range where that market fails, then it closes and breaks out of the bottom part of that rectangle. So when we look for these rectangle patterns, you can call it an M pattern, a W pattern, whatever you like, but Friday, this is again my version of what I look for. You can call it a rectangle, a double top, double bottom. It may not technically be what the purists will define as it, but these patterns will show up over and over again if you are understanding, number one, the timing with major market opens and closes. Again, your opening range and initial balance. So again, if we look at the first couple of hours of pre-market activity as Asia opens up, so we'll draw that line across. Okay, so the first 2 hours of Asia stayed inside of that range. And clearly at this point, as the market auctioned back down, it was still inside of that first hour of Asia. So I would suggest that buyers were in charge of this market. So as we see, the Asia close was up at the high of this market. Now again, I look for, this is a classic setup. We have a 20 period closing high at this point in time. And on a Friday, now we also potentially, as London opens, are looking for the low of the high period trade, which I've talked about in the other videos with John Carter's Mastering the Trade book. This is a great opportunity where you have your rectangle now defined. So you've got your 3 points, whether you put it there, whether you put it here, doesn't matter, because once London opens, aggressive traders would have participated in the low trade, the low of the high period. So they put 1 pip below the low of that Asia close candle with a stop 1 hour again. You've got a rectangular range that you can define. Other traders would have possibly entered in on the close of the London candle. So do you see a very similar pattern to what we saw on Wednesday? Very similar pattern indeed. Now the market's going to do these little types of patterns over and over again. But again, now, if you put a 1 hour level there, you can also take that rectangular range and expand upon it and give yourself a projection somewhere. Slide that down. 2 times that range at a minimum would have given traders 50 to 60 pips. But again, as we looked on the longer time frame, for longer time frame traders, that market moved aggressively down, and as the US market opened, they were able to participate again in that market going down. So look for these rectangular 3-point box setups, double tops, double bottoms. They can offer traders a huge amount of opportunity to participate in an asymmetrical risk-reward trade. Hopefully you got some value out of today's video, traders. Stay disciplined, stay focused, look for these setups, and may the markets go with you. Hi traders, it's Stacey Burke from Stacey Burke Trading. If you haven't done so, please head over to my website at staceyburketrading.com. I create updates on almost a daily basis, and I would love for you to receive them. Just click on the blog. If you want to enter your name and your email address, I'll send you my free audio program, the 7-Step Daily Routine for High-Performance Traders. This is essential knowledge for all traders in all markets, and this is for helping traders to master the market with discipline, confidence, and a winning mindset. I appreciate all your feedback and comments. As always, traders, stay disciplined, and may the markets go with you.